me okay?
Yeah, just fine.
Okay, because I can't get the volume up anymore on my laptop mode and it's very quiet.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning. Gail, are you there? All right, well, I can.
He hasn't come running down the hall yet, so.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go. All right, good morning to all of our candidates today. My name is Liz Wortley. I'm the program director here at Penn State. I'm gonna go across my Zoom list. In my top corner is Melissa, our coordinator. And then Dr. Olivia is one of our PEM docs. And then Dr. Cass is our vice chair for academic affairs. And Dr. Rednitsky does a little bit of everything in our department. Adult, peds, she's got many hats as well. The way today's gonna go play out, I'm sure you've probably had some other Zoom or similar interviews thus far, but we're gonna appreciate any flexibility and adaptability in advance. If there's any snafus, don't be afraid to just call one of our docs or anything like that, or let Melissa know and we'll do a phone call. But so far, Zoom has been working out fine this interview season. You will get an email, if you have not done so already, you will get an email from Melissa at some point today that has all of the things that the AAMC and the ACGME require that we give you on an interview day. And it'll be a link to our GME website, which has your program benefits, salaries, sample contract, etc. Kind of rules of the game. The breakout rooms will be the individual faculty members. Melissa will put you in and out of the breakout rooms, so you don't have to do anything. Anything that's in the chat for this main room, this is kind of home base. So anything in this chat, anybody can see. If you happen to have a conversation via chat in your breakout room with a faculty member, it stays in that breakout room. It won't carry over to the main room. We're pretty informal about things, so if you have a question, just shout it out, or you need to refill your coffee or a bio break or anything. We have some flexibility in this, and so if we need to do a 1-minute break between rooms and keep things moving, or if we need to do a 5-minute break, it's fine. You'll get a little bit of that banter back and forth between our faculty that you don't normally see on a traditional interview day in person. So there's a little wiggle room for chit chat. All right. Timing for the rooms. Each room is 17 minutes long. So there's a little timer that counts down in the top corner. It counts down for 15 minutes, and then a 2-minute warning will pop up right smack dab in the middle of your screen. So it's once you get the conversation going, it can still be hard to wrap up, but the Zoom program will kind of kick you back out to this main room at that 17-minute mark regardless. So just use that as a time to wrap up the conversation. All right. So far, so good? All right. Thank you. All right. Melissa will get.
Yep, the rooms are ready. I'll go ahead and open them now.
Hi, Aaron.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am well, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
I did, yesterday was an incredibly long day of meetings, so that started at 6 a.m. So I did this from home, and it was so different because there's this vent that's really loud, right here, and occasionally it'll get even louder, and it was kind of awkward silence with my husband at work and my kids at school yesterday.
Okay.
I'm doing this.
Okay.
All right. So you are currently up in the Boston area. How do you come upon Penn State?
So one, I was told about the chocolate factory at some point, some time ago. So that was how I heard about the city itself. But then my friend also is currently at your program, not EM, but doing neurosurgery residency at Penn State. and that was how he introduced me to the program and told me about the city, a little bit about the city and the lifestyle and the people living over there. And it was kind of around the kind of place I would love to live. So I then went ahead and looked you guys up on the internet and read everything I could possibly read about Penn State. And the more I read, the more I find it interesting. Given all the things that you guys have done, I mean, Penn State is like the pioneer when it comes to like diversity and inclusion.
Hold on 1 second, Aaron. I'm really trying to troubleshoot this so I can hear you. I'm bringing my computer closer to me.
Okay.
That's my computer when the laptop hooked up to the desktop. It's kind of weird, but.
Can you hear me okay?
Sorry, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I was also talking about the things I read on your website, including all the great things you guys have done with diversity. You've received multiple awards when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And also the city itself was a very good place, looking at all the fun things that could be done. I have 2 kids and a wife, and you can only imagine living in a place where your wife and kids might not want to live at. So I made sure that the place I'm going also is going to be fun, not just for me, but also like my family that I'll be coming along with. So all of that and being the level 1 trauma center with adults and pediatric definitely made me know that I will get the exposure that I will need to be confident and very self-efficient when I graduate to be an attending anywhere else. And also, again, the more I read, the more interesting it gets. I read about your EMS program, where all the residents are being exposed to the EMS. And given that I'm from the military and one of my aspirations was to be a flight medic, I found it very interesting that you guys already have like a whole department for the EMS program. So that was also a plus. And moreover, the ultrasound, I read that you guys also are very keen with ultrasound. And also one of my long-term goals is to work in a place where they have less resources. And I believe that ultrasound is going to be a very vital instrument to have, given that it's very portable, it's easily accessible. And also, like, for me, I'm from Ghana, and CT scan, as easy as it is here, is not as easily accessible back home. So like having an instrument like an ultrasound where you can easily be able to get some pathologies with an ultrasound rather than waiting on a CT scan. So a place that is gonna give me that kind of exposure, and they invest their time in teaching residents to make them more comfortable with the use of ultrasound. So yeah, all of this definitely made me more interested in your program.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, ultrasound kind of growing here. We recruited more faculty who will be joining us at the end of their ultrasound fellowship this year. So Dr. Moore actually has like a whole team, an ultrasound director. About a year and a half ago now, all of our billing studies, so not the ones done for teaching purposes, but the ones that are done for billing and medical decision making, actually now uploaded onto PACS, our PACS viewer. So now we actually have surgeons taking patients to the OR based on our images because they can see them. That was always the big rate limiting step, was when they couldn't review the images easily. And now they can call for a consult and they can be up on the 5th floor rounding and then just log into a computer, open up PACS and see our images. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a hot gallbladder. We'll be down shortly. And it's kind of nice, and it's good for quality review as well. The area, kind of spot on, it is a fun little area. It's small town America. It's safe. Having a family, I know that can be a very important feature. We know we actually do well with residents who have families and start families while they're here. About like a third of our residents are single, about a third are in serious relationships or married, and maybe just, it's not quite a third, maybe just slightly under a third of our residents have families.
Okay, good.
So it like has a a leave of absence for childcare for parental leave. I'm like, oh, that's easy. Set that down fast. And it comes with like the area because it's such a safe area. So many of our docs that live here send their children to the public school system because the schools are good.
Yep.
It's safe. And the cost of living can't really be beat in Pennsylvania because many of our residents will purchase homes while they're here. And for some of them, like one of our former chiefs, he had his third child right before residency. He had his fourth child in his last year of residency. I think they had pets as well. So it was a family of 6. And his mortgage was less than what I was paying 15 years ago when I was an intern in downtown Philly for my studio apartment.
Oh.
So yeah, you can actually buy a house and have land and have a yard and have pets and children and it's nice. Most of our residents live about within 15 minutes to the hospital.
Nice. Nice.
We have a small cohort that live in downtown Harrisburg. If you want that small city feel, like that downtown feel, usually that's more of our single residents. And the ones that are kind of more settled down in their relationships or have a family usually live within Hershey itself, Hummelstown, or Palmyra.
Okay.
And yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head too with trauma. Seeing both the peds trauma and the adult trauma in the same department, huge asset.
Yeah.
No shortage of sick children here. You will see plenty of bread and butter, like bread and butter adults, bread and butter kids. But then you'll see a lot of pathology, and our acuity and pathology mix doesn't get watered down or diluted because there's another university hospital 10 blocks down the road. Great programs in the city, but there's a lot of them. Whereas here, we're the only academic center for quite some distance. And so a lot of patients from the community will get transferred into us, or they'll drive in and just present to our emergency department with some bizarre surgery they had 10 years ago. And that includes on the pediatric side. So you'll get comfortable with both all ages of the spectrum.
I'm looking forward to it.
Medical and trauma. All right, what questions can I answer for you?
So when I was reading again, I saw that there was an elective block, and my question was, do residents have the opportunity to do something like an international medicine or global health medicine in that elective block?
Yes, absolutely. We have been averaging about a resident a year doing an international elective. Last year, we had 2 international electives. One person went to Pakistan, where his father is an uncle, and that was at the time in the fall when they had a big earthquake, so he actually got to go do disaster relief 2 hours away because of the earthquake, and now that person is doing a disaster fellowship up at Harvard. And then one of our other residents actually did an elective in Ghana, our medical school affiliation. I don't remember the hospital name.
Yeah, it's Kolebu. Kolebu.
Is that what?
Yeah, if it's University of Ghana, it's Kolebu.
Okay.
Kolebu Teaching Hospital, yeah.
I'm like, I know I have it on paperwork, but in terms of the electives, we're very liberal in what we will approve. As long as we meet the ACGME requirements of like a supervising physician, be evaluated, and goals and objectives, we're not gonna say no to pretty much anything.
Okay.
People try to like, oh, I want to do a research elective and take a whole month to do my scholarly activity project. No. Everyone has the same amount of time to do their scholarly activity project.
Okay.
But we're pretty open, and some people will piecemeal things together here. Whether it's like 1 week of radiology, 1 week of ophthalmology, 1 week of interventional home.
Okay.
2 weeks, but we actually have a doc in our. Well, he's no longer in our department. He's retired, but he's still actively involved with our department. Like he still emails out and comes to all of our events. And Jim has like so many international connections and has helped our residents do international electives over the years. So fully feasible.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing I was really interested in. You know, when I come in there. Yeah.
What are you perhaps most excited about in becoming an EM resident? And what are you, on the flip side, what are you most nervous about?
So one that I'm most excited about is the fact that I'm joining a team of doctors that are trained in an array of medicine. So during third year, I was enjoying almost all rotations, and this is one field that gives you a little bit of everything. And given the fact that I'm the only medical student or the only doctor in the family, even now I'm receiving all these phone calls and all these questions about, hey, look at my toe, that kind of thing. And I'm glad that I'm joining a field that even if I don't know, I will have a little bit more knowledge compared to someone who is specialized into something. So that is one thing I'm very definitely looking forward to, and I know that most of my family members will be calling me as if I'm their primary care, which I'm okay with that.
I didn't hear that last part. I'm sorry.
I said I'm pretty sure most of my family members will be calling me as if I'm their primary care with all those questions, which I'm okay with that because I'll feel confident that after my training I will have all the exposure to train them and to help them out. The only thing I'm worried about in terms of EM is I've heard about all this stress that comes with the job and all this high burnout rates and stuff like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to joining the team and also working on how I'm going to balance my work-life balance and have another way where I can relieve some stress. Good thing is I have my family who has been very supportive and they help me go through my stress. Like my children are very fun. We go home, we dance, we jump around, and I use that to be like my stress relief. And so I'm definitely worried about that part, but I also know that I have a very good family and a very good way of balancing those kind of stress out. So I'm not too worried, but that's definitely a thing on my mind that I think about.
So, how did you come upon emergency medicine?
So one, I served 6 years as a medic in the U.S. Army, and in that capacity, I provided limited primary care and emergency services and evacuation from point of injury to wherever they needed to taken care of. And my basic role was to stabilize the soldiers well enough to be transported to wherever they need to go. And I believe that is more like a good correlation with emergency medicine, where we receive patients who are critically ill, we stabilize them well enough to be, transfer either to the floor, ICU, or surgery, and where they can have like the final treatment. So I think there was a very good correlation with my, my professional experience and the emergency medicine. So I felt like that was a very good fit.
That makes total sense. All right. So we have a little over 2 minutes left. What other questions can I answer for you? Anything about program, department, hospital, area?
So in terms of residents' feedback, how well are residents' feedback taken, and what are some changes that have occurred, like due to residents' feedback?
So sorry, how well do we respond to their feedback?
Exactly, and
so we do at least 2 retreats a year. The first retreat earlier in the year is for the third year residents, and that's really more like to get them ready to leave the nest, so to speak, like helping with job hunting, things like that. We do a total program overhaul every spring, usually in May or early April, with just the first and second year residents. And we go through every single rotation, we go through the EV, etc. We go through their evals, then they do the program evaluation, and the faculty will do the program evaluation survey. Then we have our big program evaluation committee that meets every June. So that's how we develop our program goals for the following academic year. So sometimes if it's something easy, we'll make a change live next week if we have to. Something in the curriculum, like how we do board review in didactics, that's easy to change. Sometimes if it's like rotation schedules, that's not something we can change mid-year because we have a calendar and other departments and programs are relying on us, etc. But that's something that we can work to build for the following year.
Okay.
Kind of depends on how big of the change it is. If it's structure, if it's communication, I don't mind changing those things mid-year. we changed up our ortho rotation because of feedback from previous grads. We started the ortho rotation 4 years ago. We had 3 years of it, but we were hearing from the residents what parts of it really worked. And then we were hearing from the residents who had done it what parts didn't really work. And so starting last October in year 3, we started meeting with ortho again to revamp it for this year. So this is like the second iteration. We cut it down to 2 weeks, and it's very much focused on what we want for EM residents. So, you can see from October to June, it took that long to make it what it is now, but that's one thing.
Okay.
Adding in some other changes, PZM, things like that, we can talk about more in a little bit on the over.
I'm sort of getting better at this thing, but not so great.
All right. Once again, cut off a mid-sentence. But that's,
Yeah.
Dr. Worley, if you're talking to us, you're muted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I said, if you guys can bear with me 30 seconds, I'm switching laptops, because for some reason, my audio is way off on my work laptop today.
No worries.
So I'm gonna switch windows. You're gonna see 2 of me from it.
Hey Abby, can you hear me?
I do hear you.
I forgot to ask you. Did you ever run into Dr. Nice, Drew Nice?
Be nice.
At Cooper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my boy. He was my anatomy partner, and he was my softball teammate. We were in a pretty competitive South Philadelphia softball league. And he was sort of my bodyguard in Philadelphia because he's a pretty big boy. So living in Center City, it was nice to have him around.
Small world.
I hear he's doing pretty well for himself at Cooper.
I always forget that, Bob, until you remind me that you know Drew too.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like that guy.
I love Drew.
I got to see him when I was in the Bronx doing trauma. We got to do 8 weeks of trauma at Cooper, and I got to see him every once in a while. But you know how busy Cooper is in trauma, so I didn't get to see him that often.
All right. That is so I can hear everybody so clearly now. I don't know what is up with my work laptop, but I'm glad I switched. So far, so good.
Yep. And we can still hear you as well.
I'm sorry, it's a weird perspective with where the camera is, but
That's all right. Okay, everybody's ready. We'll go ahead and open up the next rooms.
Aaron,
Hello. Good morning.
welcome to Hershey, virtually.
Thank you.
Right? I really enjoyed reading your personal statement.
Thank you.
Start off by saying, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I also started off in the Massachusetts Army National Guard.
Oh, nice.
That was where I was first commissioned. It brought back a lot of fond memories. I haven't thought about those days in a long
In
time.
Medcom, you were in Medcom and
Yeah.
okay.
As a medical student, no less.
Oh, okay. So same boat, basically.
So it was interesting, but I don't think I had quite the experiences you did.
Yeah, because I was a medic for 6 years before I commissioned in April of this year.
Uh-huh.
So I moved to Medcom in April. But before that, I was with the 101 FA, the Field Artillery, in Brockton. So those were the guys I was with for about
I
6
had
years.
one fun summer. I was the Devarty surgeon up at Fort Drum. And their job was to just drive around. They gave me a Jeep and a driver. I drove around to all the little batteries collecting their data. And that's all I had to do. But every time I showed up, they said, "Hey, Doc, come on, you want to fire the gun?" Gonna fire all these giant howitzers and whatnot.
Yeah. The 777s.
Yeah.
The 777s.
Yeah, there was a 115 millimeter, and then there was one that was like a 5-inch shell. I mean, we're talking more than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember all of it.
Must be fun.
I didn't know what I was doing. In any event, so welcome to Hershey.
Thank you.
Have you ever been?
I have
Hershey,
not.
Pennsylvania?
No, I have not.
Someday you got it. It's a beautiful rural suburban town. You know, the hospital sits in the middle of a cornfield. Very different than most academic teaching hospitals built in the big city area. So why don't we start there? What can I tell you about us that you haven't already learned?
I guess I got most of the information online. By
Okay.
reading your website, I got most of the information online. The one thing I wanted to know was, in your view, what would you say is, let's say, a weakness in the program, in your perspective?
What is the
What would you say is one weakness in the program?
one weakness in the program? I mean, this is a program that's been around now for 16 years. I think it's pretty well got the kinks worked out. I think we used to have a really strong toxicology rotation. We had a magnificent toxicologist named Ward Donovan, who ran a service out of Harrisburg at Pinnacle Hospital, and he retired a couple years ago. So we don't have a tox rotation per se.
Okay.
I think residents still get a very good tox experience, just in terms of what rolls through the department. Every emergency doc feels themselves qualified in toxicology, and we do have a good relationship with a tox service out of Philadelphia. But we don't have an actual toxicologist, so I think that's sort of a niche, not really a systemic weakness.
Yeah.
What else? That's the big one that comes to mind.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely not that big then.
Yeah. So, tell me how you went through this thought process. So, let me just pull up here to make sure I get this all straight. So, you graduated from Tufts back in 2016.
Correct.
By that point, you'd already been a medic in the Army,
Correct.
right? Were you thinking medical school
I
even
w-
then?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so the idea was to get your undergraduate degree in chemistry and apply to medical school.
Correct.
But there was a little bit of a gap.
From Bunker Hill.
Not really. I mean, you graduated in December and started in August.
Yes, the main gap that I have in my education was from Bunker Hill to Tufts undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
That was where there was a huge
And that's
gap.
where you were, with the Army.
I was with the Army, correct, and
Yeah. So that's a very good excuse for interrupting your education. Do you think you're going to stay with the service?
I plan on, because I've already been with them for 7 years, and being in the Guard, 1 weekend a month is not that crazy. And while I'm in the residency program, my time still counts, but I'm not committed to them. Like, I don't have to go as often as I would have gone, but my time still counts. So even though I only show up, let's say 3 times in a year, it still counts as a whole year for my retirement.
I know.
So
I remember that well. I went through 2 residencies over 6 years, and And you can do some interesting things too with your summer AT.
Exactly.
I went did one AT. I turned it into an elective. I went to Germany, and I worked in the emergency department in Würzburg. So it was a great elective experience, and it also counted as my
As an
AT for that year.
Did they pay you for that?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And I went a couple of ATs instead. I did my advanced officers basic, and I did the C4 course. Do they still have the combat casualty care course down at Fort Sam?
We do have that. So I mean I went through that as a medic, like the
You did,
C4.
okay.
I went through that as a medic. Yeah, I don't know about the officers. I think they still do when they go for their BOLIC, their basic officer leadership course. I think they go
Right.
through that in Fort Sam Houston. That little,
Right.
it's still there.
Do they still send you out to, what is it, Camp Bullis?
Camp Bullis. That's where.
God, I hated that place. It was so hot, the scorpions didn't even like it. Oh, God, that's miserable.
Yep, Kumbola still exists. That's where I did my training in 2000 and yeah, Kumbola still exists. They have this tents. I don't know if during your time they had that. They have this tents which that is where we all live in now, and yeah, I think it's different from your days.
I'm sure a lot has changed
Yeah,
in time
yeah.
since then.
Yeah, and
So,
we
yeah,
saw.
so you're thinking of staying. So, I don't think we've had any guardsmen in the residency as far back as I can remember. We certainly have had people, who, done their GMO years, active duty, and come back. But I can't see any real challenges with accommodating that because, as you said, the requirements are so minimal
Correct.
from the
Correct.
guard, and we just need to, coordinate your elective time or your vacation time with summer AT, and that's not a big deal.
Correct. And because of that, I do plan on staying because all of that training, including fellowship, will still count towards my years. And by the time by the time I'm done,
Right.
I already have maybe like 13 years and I only need like 7. So
Yeah, at that point, no sense in yeah.
correct.
So tell me, over the course of these 4 years that you were in medical school, is there anything you wish you had done that you haven't yet done?
I guess the only wish I'll have is traveling, because but that I can't say it was too bad because I guess that you could blame that on coronavirus because I planned on doing the international elective on going to Ghana to do some global work, and that those dreams were kind of shut down by the coronavirus because I did had this whole idea of going in there, really immersing myself with the locals and really getting to know how medicine is really practiced in Ghana. Because I'm from there, and back then we didn't really go to the hospital like that. I only went when I'm really sick. And so I wanted to go back now with the knowledge that I have and knowing a little bit about medicine. I wanted to go and see what is the thinking of the doctors in there? How did they practice with the limited resources that they have? Like how do they decide to do a lab test versus no lab test and just give you a medication? Because honestly, most of the time when you go to the hospital, you don't get a lab test. You don't get any imaging. You just go and say, Doc, my stomach hurts or this and that, and they just give you medication or give you injection. And thinking about it now, I'm like, how did they know to just give you this? Because here, we would at least give you a CBC or BNP just to check, if something is going on. But back there, they don't do any of that stuff. And most of the clinics are in someone's house where their living room is like their own little space,
Sure.
yeah.
You wrote about that quite vividly.
Exactly. So I wanted to go back and kind of get that understanding and see how they actually practice it. Like, is it safe? Is it because they are experienced in it? Because I know that they do I mean, it's inevitable that some of them will come out bad and they'll be misdiagnosed. But I wanted to know if there's a real rationale behind why they don't do, what I would say is typical here in America versus back home where they just go through that.
Yeah.
So I miss.
I don't think because of our practice, I don't think here we're as likely to mistake appendicitis or typhoid fever.
Correct.
Because-
Correct. Yeah, I mean, back home we have like 3 diagnoses. Either you have malaria, typhoid, or you just have a headache. And all of this comes with medications.
So when you say go back, are you saying you think you might want to go back there permanently to practice?
Oh,
Or just
no.
see?
So right now I have a wife and kids here, and my wife is not from Ghana, so she would not
okay.
she would not want
How
to
old
live
are
in
your
Ghana.
kids?
My oldest, they both born in December, so in December they'll both be 6 and 2.
Oh wow! Congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
no wonder that's a great age. The 6-year-old is in school.
6 years old is in school, and she's doing the hybrid course now, like half days in school, half days at home. Great, yeah.
So I probably should tell you that because this will be important to you. Is that there is a really nice on-campus housing for students and residents. It's actually right on the hospital properties. These nice apartment buildings, and a lot of young families are there. This is important to me because I got to make sure that when I drive to the hospital, I don't drive at the same time that the school bus is about to pull up. Because you get hundreds of kids, coming out. So your kids would have a lot of other children to play with. There's a nice community for young families. It's a very family-friendly hospital.
Yeah. That's one reason I also picked it, because you don't want to be in a place where your spouse will not like you to be. It will not be good for you. So.
So I think, there is a surprising number of residents here who are married and have young kids, much more than almost any other place I've worked. It shows.
Good to know.
Atmosphere is good for that.
Thank you.
It's a great school district.
Yeah.
The Berry Township Hershey School District is top notch. So what do you want to do long term then? Okay, we've ruled out going back to Ghana.
Yeah. So in long term, I definitely want to be in an area which offers that capacity of me collaborating, doing this global health work, where I'm able to go back and again have this dialogue and have this teaching moment where we share ideas and share training. So because I definitely want to go back and have that conversation with people back home. And also, I've enjoyed teaching. I've been a tutor for about 8 years, so I definitely enjoy the teaching and the mentorship that I was able to provide students, either going to medical school or nursing school or anything like that. So I definitely want to be.
Lots of opportunities to teach here.
Exactly.
Have you given any thought to potentially getting a MPH then, if you're interested in global?
Definitely, yeah. That's my next goal, to get like an MPH, to really get a better understanding of like the global health and see where I can fit best.
And I see that we're down to 19 seconds left, so these interviews always go way too quickly. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
With you.
Thank you.
Happy Veterans Day, somewhat delayed.
And happy Veterans Day to you too.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
And they're going to kick us out.
Yep. All right.
118 seconds. I want to wish you a lot of luck with the rest of your interviews and the match.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
It's a weird process this year, doing it all virtually. Can't meet anybody face to face and shake their hand.
I know. What rank did you
I finished up at major.
A major. Wow, that's big. That's big.
Yeah, as a physician, it's easy to get promoted. You just got to hang around.
Just don't mess up, and then you keep going.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to quickly leave the breakout, and we'll get back to the main room.
All right. So far, so good.
All right, we're back, Melissa.
Hello. You didn't go over this time, huh? You didn't get
No.
interrupted by the timer?
No. 12 o'clock. And said our farewells so we can get them in without being interrupted in mid-sentence.
Good job, Dr. Cass.
I'm learning.
You're getting it down
I
now,
can learn
right?
new tricks. That's right. Old dog, new tricks. I can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. One by one here, we're starting to come back.
I'm curious. So Aaron and Floor, is this basically the same process that other programs are doing? So,
It's-
Teresa?
Yes, it's very similar to what other programs are doing. The other platform that I used was Thalamus, like the brain.
I know that one.
Yeah.
But the general format of how this is being done is pretty similar.
I'm sorry we got cut off, but thank you for coming here and joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I heard you had a surprise visitor scare you for a second there.
What was-
So that is the one drawback of having my back to the door. AK just popped in. I was saying something about the curriculum and an AK, and she heard me say it through the door and just popped in and screamed in my door, and I literally screamed like a little kid.
So the funny thing for me is my office is right around the corner, so I could hear all of this happening outside, but I didn't know exactly what it was. So for those of you who I guess did not get to see the guest appearance of AK, she's our APD, and unfortunately she is clinical today, so she was not able to help with interviews, but she will be joining this evening. Briefly to meet you all and say hello during the meet and greet with our residents. So she wanted to make sure she got a chance to meet everyone too. So she will be popping on this evening. If you're all able to join us, you'll get to meet her then as well.
So I heard all the noise in the home, and I went and closed my door. I had no idea what was happening. I just went just to make sure.
Just another day in the office, right, Gail?
I swear we don't really scream that much over on the academic side. We have two sets of offices because the original College of Medicine building is called the Crescent, or the college side, and it's all interconnected, but we're on like the newer end, but it's not that new, but it's at least newer than the college. So like our administrative offices, Dr. Promise is our chair, technically in another building, but they're like the old ambulance entrance away. So it's a pretty short walk, but then we're on the academic suite. So most of us are located over here. Bob's over on the admin side. All the PEM docs are on the admin side.
I'll tell you, on the PEM side, we do a lot of playing music and dancing. I don't know what you guys do on your side, but there's a lot of boy band kind of music going on, disco, you know.
Yes,
Last
that
night,
sounds pretty fun.
as I was doing my charts at 5 a.m, I had some Bee Gees going on. For the young folks, that's called disco from the 70s.
They still put it in contemporary movies, so they might write songs.
That's true, but it's like usually synthesized disco music, so.
I think Bob understands the current fans in pop music. So that's how he aligns with his pediatric patients in the peds ED.
Yeah, I try to at least teach a little bit of music to every patient I see. Old school, new school.
All right, everybody. You ready for the next round here? Anybody need a break, or are we okay? I'm seeing head nods, thumbs up. Okay. All right. We will open up the rooms.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. How's it going so far?
So far, so good. I've had a lot of interesting conversations.
So where's home for you?
Home is Accra, Ghana, in West Africa.
So your family's still there?
Most of my family are still there, correct?
So when did you come here? How old were you?
I migrated here in 2009. I was 19 turning 20. I came in January and I turned 20 in May.
So you came by yourself?
I did.
That's one way of growing up quickly.
I did, correct. I
You
did.
came here to go to school, or?
Yeah. So I came and then I started Bancario Community College, and I kind of sponsored myself throughout. And yeah.
That's pretty impressive. I peeked at your application before I came. You're ex-military, you're current military?
Current. I've been with them for about 6 years now.
Are you going through med school and a military scholarship? Or?
No, so I'm in the National Guard. So in the Guard, they don't pay, unlike the active duty where they give you like the stipend, and then once you're done, you serve for them like active duty time. The Guard is very easy going with that. So they will pay up to about $240,000 student loan for me after I graduate, and I stay with them for 6 years.
After you graduate.
After I graduate.
So you borrowed the money and then you pay it back.
Exactly.
And then if you choose to go active, then would the government do that as well?
So
or?
if right now, if I choose to go active, I don't know how that works out. And I don't know if my wife would want me to go active anyway. So
Not unless you really want to travel.
yes, and we get
By
to
the
do
time hopefully we'll be done fighting wars by the time you finish
Exactly,
residency.
exactly.
In which case, living in
Germany
Germany
or
or Japan
Italy.
for a couple years could be
Exactly.
very good cultural experience for your family.
I know. We're already a multicultural family because my wife is from Cape Verde and they speak Portuguese, and I'm from Ghana, and we have our own language, and the house is all full of different languages and different cultures. So I think
And what do the kids speak?
they're all confused. So
How old are they?
so the oldest will be turning 6 next month, and the youngest will be turning 2 next month.
So the oldest, well, has he been in school or what's the
So
job?
currently we're doing the hybrid. She's in school, so we're doing Monday, Tuesdays in school, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at home.
So she wants to speak English mostly?
She speaks English mostly because English. We all speak English at home because my wife can't speak my language and I can't speak hers, so we speak English to each other, and we try speaking in our local language to the kids, which sometimes is very difficult to try to explain yourself multiple times to a 2-year-old, try to make them understand what you're trying to tell them. But we try. I plan on taking everyone back home if COVID permits. Taking everyone back home after graduation, which is May, so that they can at least go and see where I'm from, and hopefully when they stay there for like 2 weeks, where they can constantly hear the language back and forth, they might be able to pick up a few things here and there and come back and be a little better fluent in it.
Are you going to go to Cape Verde as well? Or?
We plan on doing that also. So my dream or my hope was to have them split, if not every year. So let's say 1 year you go to Ghana to spend your summer days in Ghana, and then the following year go to Cape Verde, or split it up 1 month in Ghana, 1 month in Cape Verde. That is my hope, and that's my dream that I get to do that. I have all my families back home, so they will have a lot of people to stay with and to be with when they go back home.
Has Ghana escaped COVID or?
So COVID is not as big as it is here in Ghana. I mean, they still partying, they still going to the clubs with no masks on, and they don't even believe in COVID. They think COVID is like this fake thing that people are just saying to scare them. Like, you know how they watch the news and they see how many people die of COVID in America and Italy and Europe. They don't see that numbers, and they want to see, okay, people are dying before they think that is real. They think when the government says, "Oh, we're on lockdown," the government is just trying to lock them up. And
So, is there COVID in Ghana?
I'll say yes, but the Ghanaians will tell me no.
What
And
is the national? I haven't looked. What is the actual? All those world heat maps. What do they say?
so the heat map definitely gave. In the beginning, I was following the heat maps sometime in April, May, thereabouts, where they were picking up some numbers. But the Ghanaian population, one, they are not really seeing the risk, and they don't understand how bad the COVID is.
But
And
you think if it was rampant, then it would be endemic, and then people would see it. But so it must mean the incidence is low.
that's
because
what I'm
people
thinking
aren't sick.
also, because the people are like they're not seeing that many deaths, and even if someone dies, because back then, remember that the test was not easily available, even in America. So you could only imagine back home in Ghana. So when someone dies, for you to say the person died of COVID, they were not really believing it, because the person dies, and then days after they will say the patient died of COVID. So how do you really tell me that this was a COVID patient or this was someone who actually died? So that controversy led to many people not believing in COVID, and
Your
now
family's healthy though.
my family is healthy, everyone is fine, and again they don't wear the mask. They walk
And your
around.
wife's family, Cape Verde is an island, right?
Cape Verde is
So,
an island, and they're
so
fine also.
they haven't had much, right?
No,
They're
no.
protected.
Yeah, they all been fine, and thank God that everyone has been fine, and we knock on wood that God keeps us safe.
Were you mobilized for COVID at all?
I volunteered to do that because sometime in March they sent all of us home from the medical school, and I was just home. And during that time, all the National Guards were being activated, like the medical field people were being activated. So I volunteered to join them to go do some COVID tests in the military nursing homes, the army nursing homes, because there was an outbreak. I don't know if you heard about it on the news in Massachusetts, where one of the nursing homes got really crazy and people died. And the nurses all stopped coming to work because they were scared they were going to get sick. So they activated the National Guards, including medics and doctors, to kind of supervise and take over those places. So I volunteered to do that rather than just sitting home and being bored.
So are you in the National Guard in Massachusetts, or?
Correct, National Guard in Massachusetts. Yeah.
But I know people from Massachusetts also wound up going to New York and some of the other big.
I'm not. I wasn't aware of that because I
I
believe.
don't know from Massachusetts, but I know National Guard. When New York put out their plea for help in the spring, they had sent National Guard
From other states.
Other states as
Okay.
well.
Okay. Yeah.
Now
My.
I think New York is, I think, returned the favor and went. I can't remember where, to Texas or somewhere.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's nice. That's one good thing about National Guard. You get to serve the state and the federal government. So that's that's one advantage.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your
So
support.
why Hershey?
Why Hershey? So yeah, one, I got to hear about Hershey from a friend of mine who is currently in your residency program, not emergency, but doing neurosurgery residency. And he was the one that told me, hey, you should take a look at this place. I'm living in this nice apartment. The system of
cheaper
living
than
is relatively
Boston,
cheaper
anyway.
than Boston, exactly. And so he told me about that. So I went online and started looking at your programs. And the more I look, the more excited I get, and the more I see myself living here.
The schools are very good here.
I googled that too, and I saw that it's one of
I
the.
mean, Hershey itself, the surrounding towns also have good schools, but Hershey itself is probably one of the top-rated school districts in the country. I
Correct.
mean, you pay for living in Hershey. It's more expensive than some of the surrounding communities,
Mhm.
but if you have kids, it's probably worth it.
Exactly. And also, the city itself, with all the things that you could do around in the city, was a plus, because you don't want to live in a place where your spouse will not be happy, and that would make you a very, very sad resident. So I want to make sure that
Is your wife home full-time with the kids, or?
she's working at home, so she's able to help with the kids. And I
So
have
she can, with her job, can she just do remote from wherever?
she could be remote from wherever, correct? And so that's one advantage that we have.
So you can go wherever makes you happy, right?
Exactly. As long as she's happy and I'm happy, I think that's I
Well,
think
if she's happy, you'll be happy. That's how it goes.
That is true. So I had to make sure that she likes the place, and she liked it. She liked what she saw. So I think it's going to be a good fit for all of us.
So what can I tell you that I'm sure you've had most of your questions answered, but what can I tell you?
Um, yeah, I mean I say most of them were answered. One thing I just wanted to know from your perspective, it's not like a formal mentoring program for like new residents.
So we don't pair residents with residents, but it's a small program and the residency is really tight. I think that's one of the advantages of being in a small town. And because if you're in Boston, everybody knows other people in Boston because people went to school in Boston or they've had friends who moved to Boston that they knew from undergrad or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
So people hang out some with their fellow residents, but they also have all these other circles of acquaintances. Here, most people come here, they don't know a whole lot of people, so they tend to be tight in that respect. You're assigned a faculty advisor, and I guess they try to pair you up with somebody
Okay.
with like interest, and the faculty advisors have usually 3 residents, one from each year. And pre-COVID, they were supposed to do like family type stuff, like get together with your 3 advisees, and in that sense of the intern gets to know the second year and third year.
Okay.
So COVID has discouraged all kinds of social interactions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But hopefully COVID will be over soon. I mean, I wish I could believe it's not real, but
Yeah,
but
COVID.
unfortunately it is. I ran into one of the hospitalists. I ran out right before this. I picked up a sandwich, so I'd have lunch because I have a meeting right after this, and I ran into one of the hospitals. He said we're up to 5 COVID teams in the hospital and 1 ICU COVID team. Now, our residents, at least in internal medicine, are not seeing COVID patients. They can help, but they don't want them to have direct. So I'm sure those teams are much smaller than a normal medicine team because it's attending only.
Oh, okay.
So instead of having 20 patients in their service with a couple of residents and students, they probably have, I don't know, I'm just guessing, 10. I didn't ask them, 10 maybe max, with just 1 attending.
Okay.
And so he said he was getting tired.
Wow. Yes, that was very pitiful and very painful too. I do remember my previous clinic that I was at. They started something like that where it was attendings only to see like the COVID patients, and then there was this argument about the residents need to learn, and because they're here to.
I kind of agree with that. I'm old, so I actually was a resident at the beginning of the AIDS epidemic.
Okay.
And nobody knew what AIDS.
Yep.
All they knew was people were dying from it. You can get it from, like sticking yourself with blood.
Yeah.
And I remember as an intern, like putting on all the gear, which was a lot more uncomfortable than what we're wearing now, and suiting up and like that. And somehow the nurses never seem to be able to get the blood. They're like, we can't get it. You're gonna have to do it. Okay. And nobody suggested that because I was a resident, I shouldn't be taking care of these patients. It was just expected. So yeah. So it's kind of it is what it is. But hopefully our residents do see COVID patients.
Okay.
It's very much dependent on which department you're in.
Okay. Okay.
The residents actually pushed for it
Yeah.
because they realized they weren't seeing any of the sick patients in the
Mhm.
spring. That's all we were seeing, and the residents were sitting around twiddling their thumbs because the only patients coming in were the COVID patients. Everybody else was staying home,
I stay home.
and they were like, and the attendees are getting all the intubations and everything else, and they're like, we're done with this, and they petitioned, and they finally got it.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing because now anyone who comes in with a chest pain or coughing is already assumed to be COVID positive until proven otherwise.
And nobody's, knock on wood, nobody's gotten sick at work. The one attending I know of who got COVID got it from the sister.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't think any of the residents have actually had it. Some have been quarantined. I was quarantined, and that was just because we weren't wearing proper PPE
Mm.
in a room where something happened. So,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Anyway, I hope we'll see you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think you'd like it here.
Thank you. I hope to see you too. Thank you.
Okay, you take care.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
I put my email in the group chat. You guys will have contact information for all of us, from Melissa, but I always put it in there. Everything going smoothly so far?
I want to end one of these interviews at the end of the sentence, period. I'm getting better at that, though.
When you said period, I'm like, are you going to talk like that? Because have you ever left a voicemail like you're dictating? I've done that.
Yes.
I returned like a business call the one day to like the elementary school or something. I'm like, ugh.
Yes, comma, I have, period.
Hey, look, is that a heart behind you?
Yes, it is.
Very nice. I
My,
want to do a study looking at the backgrounds of people's Zoom meetings.
Yeah. My son, my middle son, gave that to me as a birthday present in recognition when I became one of the co-directors for the cardiorespiratory block.
Oh, that's nice.
He didn't think the lungs made as good a picture, so he got me a heart.
All right, Sid Man.
Awesome.
Tin Man. I like it. All right, everybody. We are doing exceptionally well at staying on time today. So, if everyone's okay with it, I will open up the last rooms to give you all a little bit of time for a bio break between interviews and the program overview. Does that sound good? Okay.
What's up?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I like the suit.
Thank you.
One of the things that I miss from doing all these Zoom meetings is see people how they're dressed. I used to back in my day in high school, I used to work in a department store selling suits and ties and accessories. So I'm very into like how people dress for interviews. So I'm looking at the suit, very nice. The ties, very nice. What color? You got khakis on? You got shorts on?
No, I
That's the whole deal. I always wonder what people are wearing. Like, are they actually wearing like pants or like are they in shorts?
Yeah, I think some brave souls will probably do that and hope they don't get caught.
All right. Well, thank you for spending some time with us. You are currently at Tufts, correct?
Correct.
Very nice. So I want to make sure I'm getting better at the Zoom thing and allowing people to ask questions at the end. So, I just want to start off with kind of just telling you a little bit about myself, sort of my background.
Okay.
I've been at Penn State since 2005, so When they recruited me to Penn State, there was no pediatric emergency medicine division or department. We had a children's hospital, which was not freestanding. And fast forward 15 years, we now have a section in the department that are dedicated for infants and children. We have a division that has 6 PEM providers. We have a standing children's hospital. So as a pediatric EM physician, it's all good, man. It's really grown a lot over the last 15 years, and not only our division but our department as a whole in emergency medicine. The other thing I'll tell you is when I started off 2005, our EM residency program was terrible. It was a mess. We weren't really recruiting very good students to our program. And 15 years later, we have a very strong residency program, and that's a testament to our leadership, to our residency leadership, because really the area hasn't changed. We're still in the middle of nowhere. People not from the area are like, well, you are basically on a cornfield, which technically we are, but it's one of those things where the department and division have grown. So I've seen a lot of great things happen with our institution as well as the residency program. So tell me, first of all, I was looking at your application. It is very, very impressive.
Thank you.
So congratulations on sort of all your accomplishments.
Thank you.
All the research you've done. But tell me a little bit about sort of who you are. I mean, you probably gotten the question about why EM. I kind of know that already. Everyone has the same answer. Tell me about you as a person.
Okay.
What are you kind of looking for in a emergency medicine residency program? What are your passions when it comes to emergency medicine?
Okay. So, for me, who I am, I'm originally from Ghana, and I immigrated here in 2009 to further my education. So I started from a community college where I sponsored myself throughout my education all the way to wherever I am now. I also served in the military. I served about 6 years as a combat medic in the Massachusetts Army National Guard, and in that capacity, I was in charge of about 30 soldiers where I provided limited primary care, emergency services, and evacuation from point of injury to tertiary care. And what I'm looking for in an EM program, one, I want a place that, because with Penn State, I'm definitely sure that, with being the level 1 trauma center with adult and pediatric, there's no doubt that I'll definitely receive the highest acuity and see all the different pathologies. And by the time I'm done with the program, I'll definitely feel comfortable in anywhere that I find myself. So that is definitely one thing I'm looking for in a residency program that gives me the variety of these pathologies. And also, I like the fact that your program also looking into expanding your ultrasound program, which in long term, I see myself in a place where they have limited resources, and where something like a CT scan, which is easily accessible almost everywhere in America, they probably will not have it. So having a skill of an ultrasound, I believe, will play a very vital role. Because at least from my background, from where I'm from, CT scan is not something you just go and get. If you got money, that's when you get CT scan. You don't get it. And so having that skill of ultrasound is going to help me a lot in my future endeavors. And also a place which genuinely care about their residents and their wellness. I do know that Penn State have a variety of resources when it comes to the wellness of their residents. And I just spoke to one of the doctor who was telling me about all the retreats that you guys do to get to know each other. And I believe that kind of collaboration and teamwork is very good because it helps everyone know each other outside of work, which I think adds another layer to the friendship. And it's not only going to be about work, but also feeling comfortable around each other. So all of this is what I'm looking for in a residency program, where 1, I feel comfortable. 2, I'm going to feel confident when I'm done. And 3, I have a very good team of people that I work with.
Yeah, I think that you hit on some very important things. I think, when I first came to Penn State, 2005, I'm from Philadelphia. Before that, I worked in the Bronx, so we were living in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife's also a pediatrician, and she does adolescent medicine. She went to medical school at Penn State. But at that time, when we were looking for jobs for both of us, really the only position on the East Coast was Penn State. And I came here, and we visited a couple times, and I said, you know what? There's no way I'm going to be able to live here for more than a year or two. And because I'm from, I was living in Queens, and like going from Queens to Central Pennsylvania, it was a culture shock for me.
Correct.
But 15 years later, I'm still here. And if you were to ask me, where do you think I'm going to retire? It's probably going to be Penn State. And really the main reason is, you're going to, wherever you practice emergency medicine, you're going to see the pathology.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to be in a place that supports you, that you feel like you are within a community that is family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And the community that we have, that we serve, is very hardworking. They appreciate people who work in healthcare. And when you're busting your butt and you're working so hard in the ED, you want people that are alongside of you that feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You want families that will listen to you and value what you have to offer. And, that's how I feel here. And I think, being within a family is important, especially when you're at work, because you're going to spend a lot of time outside of your main family
Mm-hmm.
with people that, you may not know. And I think the community feel that we have within our hospital is also seen within our residency program. I think we recruit people who may be non-traditional. There's not just within our emergency department, but within all the specialties. We have so many residents who may have had other careers, who are married, have children, and that's the type of people that we recruit to our institution, family-oriented people. So I think, when you mentioned sort of the things that you are looking for, there's many things that you mentioned that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned ultrasound. Is that something you think down the road you may do a fellowship in or do research in? Or?
Yeah, I think down the road I'll probably do a fellowship in it because I want to get that skill down
Good.
pack. Just so that because one is very portable, two is, it's easily accessible that I could move it around or wherever I am. And now there's all this iPhone, ultrasound that you can even carry with you to in a rural area or wherever you find yourself. And so getting that skill down pack, I think will bring a very huge difference in the way I treat patients in rural areas.
All right, so I want to see your skills. So in your hobbies, you mentioned dancing and singing.
Okay.
So you need to demonstrate 5 to 10 seconds
Okay.
of either one. Dance or singing.
Okay, let me see. I have to play music. Oh, okay. Okay, then I'll do singing then.
All right, go.
Trying to think of a good song. If tomorrow never comes, I wish you know how much I loved her. It's my time with every day seems to get away, but she's my only one.
Dude, that's you got pipes. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That you got. I've interviewed for 20 years. I've never had anyone sing before, but I figured you look like a person that would be able to demonstrate your skills, and you did that.
Thank you.
So very nice.
Thank
so if
you.
you were to come to Penn State, we're gonna have to start a group. There's also within our medical school an a cappella group. So if you were to come to Penn State, we already know what we're doing. Starting a band up.
Oh yeah, and thank you.
All right. So we have a couple minutes. Kind of leave some time for you to ask any questions about the area, about the institution, about the residency program. I am well known to be very honest about things because I think it's really important that if you were to uproot your family and come to Penn State, that
Mhm.
you know what you're getting into.
Okay.
So I'm going to get cut off at some point. I know I try my best to not, but I always do. If there's any questions that I don't answer, please email us. You'll get our emails. We can chat on the phone or on Zoom or whatever. But
Okay.
do you have any questions right now for me?
I was reading a little bit about you, and it was quite interesting how you are able to do almost like a bench work research, which is very different compared to any place that I've been where as an emergency medicine doc, they mostly do like the clinical work. I
Yeah.
saw some of your work in microRNAs, and I had a little
Yeah.
background of microRNA in my
Yeah.
other research. I'm like,
So I'll tell you, I'm not a bench research guy.
okay,
But part of research is knowing people, making connections. So one of our pediatricians who is brilliant, Dr. Hicks, Stephen Hicks, he has interest in microRNA, and he's done research looking at, in addition to what we were looking at with concussions, with autism and other behavioral disorders in children, and using microRNA to diagnose that. So honestly, I got involved with this program because I met him, and we were talking about injuries, and one of my interests is sport injuries and head injuries and concussions. So it aligned pretty well. My job as part of this study was to enroll patients.
Okay.
And the whole microRNA part of it, that is way beyond me. I got lucky. Because the research we're doing is groundbreaking stuff. So yeah, I mean, it came out of an interest, and it's because we see a lot of concussions in our department and head injuries, and it was very frustrating for me to have to tell parents, you know what, I don't know what symptoms your child's going to have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long they're going to experience these symptoms.
Okay.
And partnering with Dr. Hicks, as well as other institutions in the country, has been very rewarding to me, because you get to a point where research is all about helping people.
Correct.
And as a pediatrician, and now I have daughters who are 13 and 9 that play sports, I want to be able to, if I was in that position, I want to be able to know, what I'm going to deal with my child.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting there. We're going to get to the point where we hopefully that this is going to be something at the bedside that we can use to tell parents, you know what, your child has had a concussion. They are to have these symptoms for this duration of time. And I think that's really rewarding for someone who sees a lot of head injuries and concussions.
Okay.
So you Googled me. Did you also Google the fact that I do research on superhero movies?
I did not see that.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
I did not see that. I mean, I saw the microRNA. I'm like, wait, how is an ED doc doing like a research in microRNA?
No,
Because
I got lucky on that. But yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. I give credit to people who do bench research. It's something that I've never done before, but it's definitely something that's important. You've done research, I've seen.
Correct.
Is that something you think you're going to continue down the road?
For now, I think I'm more into clinicals than like the bench research kind of thing.
And we have faculty that are doing ultrasound research. So certainly if you were to come to Penn State, we could partner you up with some people who are doing some very interesting ultrasound research.
Okay.
Any other questions for me before I know I'm going to get cut off? So I'm probably going to get cut off right now.
We still got like 80 more seconds.
Okay, cool.
Not really. I mean, I like the way you speak quite different from most interview places that I've been, and I like your honesty.
You probably not interviewed with anyone with a hat on and a sweatshirt.
That's for sure.
That's because I just woke up. But I also think, looking from the perspective of someone who has interviewed a long time ago, it's very difficult to really see how a program is on an interview day.
That is true.
And one of the things that, I'm a very laid back guy. I mean, I'm full professor. I'm kind of known regionally and nationally. I've written books. But I'm also just a regular person, right? I'm a family guy. I like to have a good time. You know, I joke around all the time. I'm always singing and dancing in the ED. The kids love it, man. Some of the kids are like, "This doctor's crazy," but I think it's really important when you're in a stressful situation, to be the leader within a department and to make sure that everyone is feeling comfortable.
Okay.
Patients, your staff, and I think it's really important for people to kind of see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's not the reason why. The reason why I'm dressed like this because I just woke up.
Should we bet if Bob got his last word in?
No. But I will tell you, I've been interviewing for a long time, and I've never had a applicant sing.
Who sang?
I saw a hobby that was singing and dancing, and I allowed Aaron to decide 5 to 10 seconds of singing or dancing. He chose singing, and if he was to come to Penn State, we are starting up a band. And
oh man!
Because he's got pipes, and there's an a cappella group that's pretty strong within the College of Medicine. That I think that I don't think they have any faculty, but if Aaron was to join, I'm with them because I'll start working on my vocal skills again.
There's like a handful of us here from my class in medical school, and I didn't go here for med school, but there's like 5 of us on faculty, and one of them is cardiology. He was a cappella at Jefferson, one of our cardiologists, so I know he can sing. Mike would be on board with that.
Yeah, not me. When I sing, cats drop over dead. You know.
You can play an instrument though, Lawrence, can you?
I could try.
All right, Liz, what are you playing? Electric guitar?
Oh God, I have no talent whatsoever. I love music and I have no rhythm whatsoever.
But she can do a mean karaoke.
Oh, dude, I'm all about, once this COVID is done, we're taking the whole department karaoke because I just turned 50 this year and my wife got me a karaoke machine. I still haven't used it because my kids think I can't sing. So I'm just going to have to share my musical talents with people at work.
I love music, both country and western.
We got a karaoke room when we were in New York for Cord. Myself, Dr. Worley, AK, and Jamie, she's our fellowship and clerkship coordinator for the candidates who don't know who Jamie is. And it was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Highly recommend.
There was apparently a fairly good contingency of residents COVID who were regularly doing karaoke as well. And I have to say, that's the one thing that I think a bunch of us miss after shifts is not being able to just okay, let's go grab some wings or something right across at the local restaurant. I missed that on a Saturday night, especially when the volumes were low, but it was early in the pandemic and everything was shut down. So I think we're all anxious to kind of get those things going again because there's nothing like after a grueling 2 to 11 shift or something, going out, having a drink and a little camaraderie after shift.
I'm going to come up at this point. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting all 4 of you. I wish you the best of luck with the rest of your interview season and the match. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Lawrence.
See you, Lawrence. Good luck, guys.
We've got, see you, Bob. Thank you. What he's doing.
He's dancing.
I'm raising the roof. That's an 80s move.
We know what that is.
Right.
We've got about 9 minutes, so we have enough time to take a little break. Everybody can go refill their coffee, use the restroom. The second group will be joining us at that time, and we'll do the program overview. All right? All right, thank you.